Hello and welcome back to my craft room. It's time to finish my rainbow bobbin project. So this was the slow sewing project inspired by Anne Brooke's textile artist. I'll put a link to her below. Oh wow, she's amazing. She's provided so much inspiration to thousands of people over the last couple of years. I think since lockdown started, it's just become this blossomed into this huge thing, and it's been amazing seeing what everybody's been doing. So my spin on it, I had a bobbin like Anne's. Let me show you. I had a bobbin like Anne's, but I decided to go with the rainbow colour theme. For each of Anne's new prompts, I started a new colour of the rainbow, and then I kind of went my own way a little bit here and there, as everybody does. So I've come to the point where I want to finish now. I will do a proper look through in a minute, but I've decided I was going to keep this natural because I just love the look of the wood. I think I will keep the natural wood in the centre, but I think I want a rainbow. I want rainbow colours on the spool, on the ends of the spool, and I'm going to try out these Posca paint pens. If it all goes horribly wrong, I'll cover it in white gesso and repaint it or something, but I'm hoping this will work. And then I'm also going to just stitch my name across here, so I'm going to sign it. I'm going to be really brave and use this heat erasable pen. These are friction pens, so you can use the end to rub out. My husband uses them for doing his Sudoku puzzles, but essentially the way that works is by creating heat. So you don't have to use that. You can just apply heat to it with an iron. I've even put things over a radiator, and with the heat it disappears. Interestingly, if you put it in the icebox, it comes back. I did try. So I'm going to be really brave and just sign my name across here and stitch over it, and then apply heat and hope that the green ink disappears. I think I'll just sign my name and put 2021. Let's go for it. Let's just go for it. I should have done this before I stitched it into the piece. It would have been easier because I could have stretched it tight, but I never think these things through. Let's hold it as tight as I can. There. Just fill in that little bit that didn't come out. And I'm just going to do a tiny back stitch in this sort of grey, bluish grey colour to finish it off. So I want 7 sections ideally, don't I? But yeah, I know I'm not going to worry about them being hugely even. I'll just give my favourite colours more space. Fingers crossed I don't ruin it now. I'm going to put the lines in and then go with the grain, because that would be a bit less destructive for the nibs of these ball pens. Yeah. Well, this is going to be quite a long-winded and fairly boring to watch process, so I will stop recording now and come back and show you how it looks at the end. How it all goes together. And here it is, finished at last. My slow sewing rainbow bobbin. I'm not sure how I feel about it at the moment. I need to go away and come back and look at it again. I can't decide if it's all kind of it was kind of fun and colourful, or just a bit over the top and silly looking. I'm not sure at the moment. Anyway, let's have a look. So I've ended up with rainbow on that end, and then I just did the 2 colours on this end, and there are black and white stripes as well on the edge of the bobbin, which will become more obvious as we go along. And I've just fastened it with a loop of a trim wrapped around a button. So this was the first section that I did, the red, but with each section you end up kind of going back and adding to previous sections as well, so they all sort of overlapped, and I can't remember what all the individual prompts were now. I have a feeling at this point we were just overlapping simple shapes, circles and squares, and just doing straight stitches. But later on I came back and added French knots in and couching and different kinds of edging. There's, I think that's called bullet stitch there. We've got like a French knot at the end of a long piece, lots more French knots there. Some couching down of this leafy trim. Cross stitches. Bits of lace, a bit of just kind of more straight stitch in there. And these were some, having a go at some bullion knots. Quite enjoyed doing them, but they're long-winded. Used up some tiny little scraps of things that I've just had knocking around in my trimmings stash for years, not wanting to throw away, not knowing what to do with. Oh, there's one of my first Dorset buttons. There we go. Yeah, really got into doing them, couldn't stop. Suffolk puffs on this one. This is into the another section where I went into the orange, did Suffolk puffs. Or bullion knots there, some couching. I love the way Anne shows you how to do French knots, but not necessarily make them tidy, kind of let them go all kind of tangly and fluffy so you get this interesting texture. Just going into the yellow now. Cannot for the life of me remember. Perhaps this was buttons. Yeah, yellow was where we did buttons. So I used some just buttons out of my big old button jar. And also this is where I tried the Dorset buttons. But I went back to the previous section and added some in there as well. Yeah, love doing these Dorset buttons. It surprised me how quick they were to do actually once I'd done the first one. I liked the yellow with the grey there. I still am not happy with the orange section. Usually if I'm not happy with it, I just keep working into it, and eventually I get to a point where I think, oh no, I like it now, but I just gave up on this one in the end. So. But as a piece, you know, as part of the rainbow, it's fine. Then we're going into green. Or we'll be using the little hexagon patchwork piecing. That's what this week's or month's prompt was all about. And I liked, because I'd seen an amazing artist at Alexandra Palace, part of the Knitting and Stitching show. She used patchwork pieces with the papers, the inside papers that normally, you know, you get rid of afterwards, becoming part of the finished look. I just loved the way she did that. So you kind of use them inside out so you can see the papers. And she had kind of salvaged everyday ephemera that she used for the papers, so it could have been bits of packaging and all sorts of things. Yeah, I can't remember her name off the top of my head. I might try and remember to leave a link. Yeah, more couching, absolute mass of French dots there. I think with this blue we were going into the adding beads and bling and things. That's why I went for this really layering trim for the edges, and then carried it back into this previous section with lots of twinkles there. Dotted used some of these lovely brocades that I've been hanging on to, and carried the bling into. So yeah, this was the bling section. I carried it back into this one to sort of overlap them and forward into the next one. Little seed beads here. It's all become extremely tactile. There's always little different textures and created by the stitching and the stuff that I've added to them. You can't, yeah, it's very touchy-feely. This little fish came from a lovely shop called Bazaar. That was at Alexandra Palace as well. Got a big project coming up soon using some stuff I've got from there, but yeah, watch this space. More bullion knots there. I think I was getting better at them by this stage. They look like little maggots, those, don't they? They do like a little maggot army look. see, now the camera's decided to focus. I'll give you another look back through. Whoops. Back to the start. I look at some of the other wonderful stuff done by proper embroiderers for this project. And it's quite hard not to feel intimidated. But in the end, I just had to keep remembering that, you know, you're just doing this for the sake of enjoying the stitching. It doesn't have to be technically perfect. It doesn't have to end up a work of art. I enjoy the doing of it, and I enjoy the look and feel of it now. So that's all that matters, really. What's that? Get rid of that. Right, so now... that was the bling one. Now what was the... I think this is where we started couching. Yeah. So I've couched down some of that trim, and I went back through and, as you've seen, I added it to previous sections. So that's the blue. So we've gone blue, no, it's blue, indigo, and then the last section was violet. I did a lot more. Oh, it's gone out of focus again. There we go. Embroidery there. You can see I am not an embroiderer, but I really enjoyed playing with all these different textures of threads and fabrics. And I like how Anne showed us just a handful of basic stitches, and then how to kind of play with those stitches to just give them a bit of a twist. Where you can see those cross stitches into the purple gingham there, just stitching into the pattern of the fabric, if that makes sense. I really enjoyed doing that. It's something I've enjoyed doing in scrapbook pages as well. Just using the stitching to enhance the pattern that's there. And then the last section was just about adding the text at the end and just sort of finishing up, really. And that's where I've moved on to purple, the last colour in my rainbow. And I've decided to add some complementary yellow just to spice it up a little bit. I've done some back stitching there over my signature that I just put on with the heat erasable pen, which actually I haven't even erased there, but my stitching was so thick that it sort of covered it up anyway. I did go back and add a bit of kind of contrast to some of the other background colours as well. Yeah, so I've just tied it onto the spool with a purple ribbon. For a while I couldn't decide which was going to be the outside, and I could still change my mind and wind from the red outwards. I like the black and white against the rainbow. I always like that kind of look. So yeah, that's it. I'm done. Okay, so that's my finished rainbow bobbin. I will keep it on the shelf along with my first Sew for the Soul project that I did, inspired by Anne Brooke's. This was the book, the Sew for the Soul book. So I'll keep them on a shelf together, and I've got an idea for another slow stitching project that I want to start now. I've kind of had it in mind that I'd like to join in with Anne Brooke's 52 tags project, but I put my own spin on it, as I know a lot of people have been doing, and I'm going to do 52 flags and end up with a lovely piece of kind of boho style bunting, like a banner that I can hang up in my craft room or hang up for parties or whatever. And I'm going to be using the gorgeous treasure bags that I got from a shop called Bazaar at Alexandra Palace when I went for the knitting and stitching show just recently. I might have mentioned that earlier in the video, and I'll try and remember to leave a link to them below this as well. I've done an unbagging video previously. I think I might have put it in the unboxings playlist if you wanted to have a look. They're amazing. These treasure bags are amazing. They're made up of pieces of recycled clothing which come from India, and the people that run the business work over there a lot. They have very close links with the people over there, and I have a lot of respect for their ethics and the way they work. And that's important to me too. The idea of it being recycled is brilliant. So yeah, I'm going to do a kind of boho slow sew 52 flags. That's the next project I want to get started on, and I'll probably do some other kind of slow sewing projects with these gorgeous fabrics. I've also ordered 3 more bags, which I have resisted the temptation to open, because I think it'd be quite nice to do that on camera as well. So if you like that kind of thing, watch out for that. That will probably be, I'll be uploading that over the next week, I would say. Anyway, okay, I've got some other stuff to go and crack on with now. Thanks very much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you again really soon. Bye.